Hey guys, this is Andrea, and welcome to TinderLand. And I'm here with Jonathan today.
Yeah, hey there. Welcome back to TinderLand. Here we've explored people's ups and downs of finding and losing love, success and fails of dating app adventures, and various romantic pursuits. If you haven't listened before, there have been quite a few twists and turns to end up where Andrea is today. And as it turns out so far, her serendipitous passions and whims have steered her well. And by most accounts, for the better, would you say?
I would say for the better, yeah. It has definitely been a good end of the year, beginning of the year for me.
Yeah, right? Yeah, promising year ahead. That's good. So we've taken a brief break after the holidays and, attending to real life and all. I'd say this podcast leans toward a more indulgent hobby, our opportunity to connect, claim some free time, and play radio a little bit, right?
Play radio, that's right.
Yeah.
That's the best part for me.
Yeah, it's fun, and rock out with some drums and guitar as well, which is always fun.
Right.
Right.
A little bit of jamming.
And one of the fun little things also is taking a look at our listener stats and seeing from where in the world folks are hearing us. We don't do any real content promotion, so traffic is either word of mouth or organic, or some random webbot crawler, probably in reverse of that order, unfortunately. But
so are you saying a Russian troll farm is listening to us?
That's right. That's primarily who we target to broadcast. That's right. But in any case, there are 4 geography shout-outs that stand out so far this year, the last couple of months. So in the U.S., we got our ATLians hanging strong.
Yeah.
Which is good,
ATL.
right? And then we have a close second from Oregon.
I know. Oregon, dude.
Yeah, I don't know anyone in Oregon, but
I don't either.
Yeah, we're really glad to have some listeners from the Northwest. I'd love to spend more time out there, so kudos to you guys.
Kudos to Oregon, that's right. Thanks for listening.
That's right. And then coming in after that, our international guests from Germany and Iceland.
I was going to do a shout out in German, then I realized I don't know how to. And I was going to do in Icelandic, then I realized I also don't know how to do that.
Well, you have no excuse for the Iceland, right?
It's very hard, Jay.
Yeah. Well, we did have some audience interactions recently. So we'll have some quick Q&A with Andrea that we'll report on, share with you guys later. And first we'll kick off this season with an update from Andrea's world. So for this TinderLand Valentine's special, Andrea, what is your state of affairs today? I mean, we started off the better part of a year ago with a budding wee sprout of a relationship, right?
Yes.
Aspirations of jet set dating, and where are you at today?
I would say that that has worked out for me so far. I am still seeing Ice Princess. And I guess things are a little bit more, more serious, less casual. I spent a good amount of time with her around New Year's. I was recently in Iceland, last week to see her. So far so good. I think things have been going well.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's exciting, right? I mean, you've had how many trips to see Ice Princess so far?
I think in total I went there 4 times. She came here twice. And I have I've been planning on going there sometime next month. So yeah, just keep things going,
Got it. And one of our trips here included a Caribbean cruise, no? New Year's?
Right,
yeah?
We went on a cruise for New Year's, Jay.
Man.
Open bar.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We ended up going to Cozumel, Grand Cayman. Jamaica, which was my dream, but I kind of didn't like it so much. Kind of got ruined for me. And then we went to the Bahamas, and that was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Lots of sunshine while everybody else was cold over here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the arc of the relationship has really come around in a positive way, right? A lot of twists and turns, and, you know, you've had at least one moment staring down the brink of uncertainty.
Right. I would say that with her, it has been more uncertainty than certainty before, just because we think entirely different, right? We are like what? Like olive oil and vinegar. we just don't mix so well. We're completely opposites.
Are you the olive oil or the vinegar?
I'm not sure. I would say I'm the olive oil, the slippery one.
Okay. Well, you know, and you had some a moment at least there where you had to, in the beginning, face and re-examine some of your core impulses.
Right. I had to navigate things under a completely different route than I would normally go into. I can be a little bit intense, but I can also be chill, right, if I have to. I would say that I've been taking the chill approach, kind of just see how things are going. And then with the trip to New Year's, I wanted to make sure that, you know, she knew that I wanted more than just casual dating. And took a couple conversations to convince her, but hey, I did good.
Well, yeah, and your default is relatively chill, but I think you're in a situation here where a little aggression or assertiveness was needed if you were going to come out in the long run, right?
Right, you don't want to be casually dating somebody that lives in another country, right? That just kind of doesn't show interest. So out of my part, I thought, you know, there needed to be interest for something bigger. And in all honesty, there is interest for something bigger. It's not like I'm forcing anything. So I wanted to make sure that was put out there, right? And I'm just like, hey, this is not just a fun thing that I see going. Like, I actually like you, right?
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah. Yeah, and my unsolicited take is that you kind of just came in hot from the beginning, right? Really made an impression.
Latino hot.
Yeah, you came in Latino hot, and for Ice Princess, aside from it just being maybe a bit of a shock, it was too much for her in the moment. Right,
because for her it takes time, right, to kind of open up and just see if you can either trust me or just learn. I'm not really sure what the process is there, but I know it takes time.
And she didn't know who the hell this Brazilian was showing up out of nowhere, right?
Right, who's this girl just coming here all the time, saying she's like really into me.
From swiping into Iceland. Yeah.
But I totally am really into her.
It would seem so, right? And counterintuitively, I think, you know, maybe it was too much for her in the moment, but it may have been even necessary in that situation in order to make the lasting impression that was required to ignite enough of a spark, right, to keep a transatlantic flame burning for these months.
Right. So I wanted her to know that I was serious about this, but I also didn't want her to think it was just casual, right? So it took some of my it took some showing things off of my part, I guess. To make sure that she knew where I was coming from. Yeah,
and then you kind of you pushed that to the limit and ran into that limit, and then you had to take a step back, reevaluate your approach, and since then, you know, you've been on a pretty steady path.
Yeah. So everything has been going well, but even with the talk that I had about, I asked her if she was dating other people. She said no. And I was like, yeah, I want you to just like be my girlfriend, you know. She was hesitant at first because I guess, you know, nobody wants to be controlled or whatever. But I said, hey, I have, nor can I control you because I don't live where you live, right? But I just need to know that things are going somewhere, taking a certain turn. So one or two, you know, a few drunk conversations like that on a boat, and then everything kind of worked out. So I would say, yeah, begun the year pretty good.
Well, good. And, we've talked in the past a little bit about downsides and
Right.
difficulties in the long distance relationship, but apparently there's some upsides as well.
Right. I would say that dating long distance is hard, and there's all these difficulties that are obvious, like distance and just all of those. But it comes with a lot of upsides. I would like to think that one of the pluses of dating somebody long distance is that you don't burn through phases.
What do you mean by that?
Like there is, you meet somebody, then you go on a couple dates with them. There are phases, right? Then you go on a dating phase, and then eventually start sleeping in each other's house. And that progresses to sleeping together more often, to moving in together, and so on and so forth. With having long distance dating, you cannot burn through those phases. You don't go quickly, right? Because people have a tendency of meeting somebody, being really into them, and then moving in right away, and then just progressing things that perhaps should have been taken a little bit slower. And the nature of long distance, you cannot do that just because, especially in my case, I mean, we live in a different country.
So it seems perhaps with long distance relationships, if you can make it through the predictable anxiety of not having that immediate contact and presence of the other person, then perhaps you're actually coming out ahead by avoiding some of the anxieties that are there in a relationship that has the potential to move too quickly. Often people get trapped in a ceremony or a ritualistic approach to relationships where they think, what's the next step? Not just enjoying the moment or allowing the relationship to mature and evolve naturally. Instead, they're checking boxes on their list of lifetime
what to do
expectations.
next kind of thing. Yeah, so that's kind of you avoid that altogether, I would think. And another good thing that I like is that you have a lot of built up of energy when you see each other, because you're so excited. You talk on the phone every day, you text, you're just thinking about this person. So when you see each other, there's a lot of excitement involved. It's a lot of like, wow, I haven't seen you in a long time. This feels so good,
There's a real longing for each other.
That perhaps you don't have that so much with somebody that lives in the same city. Or you do, but not as intense.
A different rhythm, certainly, right? So most people, certainly people with in long-distance relationships can relate, but most of us wouldn't really.
Right. And another thing that I like is that you miss each other, right? So you miss each other so much. You're constantly thinking about each other. And with missing each other, you also have time to do things that you like. So perhaps if you were to see somebody that you're dating 3-4 times a week, you have very little time for yourself, right? But when you see somebody once a month, that gives you 3 weeks out of the month to just like do your thing, like whether that's going to the gym or whatever you do in your personal time, right? For hobbies and work and working out and dieting, exercising, whatever people like to do on their personal time. So you have a lot of personal freedom to do that. That's something I enjoy as well.
Right, and that allows you to both maintain your independence individually, but it also kind of maintains the mystery over time.
Right. You maintain your individuality, and mystery is what I was gonna say next. You keep things interesting and fun and mysterious, right? Because you don't have that person for you 24/7. And another thing that it's a plus is you have to take things slow. There's no rushing things, especially when you live countries apart.
Well, yeah, and those things go together too, because in a new relationship, or whether it's romantic or not, people kind of unfold themselves to you. You gain more and more exposure to them. So if you only see somebody once every few weeks or a few months even, that revealing of themselves happens very slowly. So that mystery unfold slowly, and also you don't take anything too quickly, which circles back to a couple of your points.
Right. And you know, one thing that Ice Princess said this last time around that I came, because we were talking about the pluses also of having long distance relationship, right? She kind of agreed with me on having personal time and all of that. But one funny thing that she said is that she said, yeah, you know, it's like dating a sailor. You're only here for a few days and then you leave. And I thought that was kind of a cute comment. Because I felt like a sailor.
Oh, I'm jealous. That's awesome.
That's right. That's right. You are jealous.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I thought that was very cute.
Very nice. So, you know, and like you're saying, maybe that helps keep things kind of balanced, and it's probably not for everybody, but in y'all's case, it's, you know, things aren't so heavy. There's no temptation to follow some ritual or prescribed escalation of things, right? And maybe that even helps keeps things balanced in the way discussed by that psychotherapist, the Belgian woman you mentioned.
Oh yeah, Esther Perel.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm really into her right now.
Yeah. She you showed me a little bit, and it was interesting. She talks about how marriage and conventional relationships have trended towards creating kind of an existential dilemma, right? What used to be just a mere economic institution or a necessity of marriage, procreation. Right? Yeah. It was a joining of families and a means of starting a family, and a family was necessary for survival and wealth and equity. And now we live twice as long, and we ask one person to be our friend, our lover, our caregiver, co-parent, forever, right? Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah. So it's different because suddenly we do live. I mean, it was only 100 years ago. Our life expectancy was about 50 or so, and suddenly,
that's crazy.
Yeah, just
I would die 15
so.
years from now. Fuck me.
Right.
I can say fuck me. I always forget.
Hey, we're on our podcast, right?
Right, that's right.
But you know, now you're talking about almost doubling, you know, life expectancy
and doubling expectations.
And doubling expectations as well.
You're no longer supposed to be just a provider. You're also supposed to be the confidant, provide the fun, be the sexy lover. It's a tough job.
Yeah. In previous centuries, it was only required that we tolerate one another. Now we're supposed to be expert providers of, you know, care, affection, attention, support. So, but you know what? It speaks to the adaptability of humans that we're actually pretty capable of it, because you do have a lot of divorce, of course, you know, half or so in U.S. and different in other areas.
Half of marriages in the U.S. end up in divorce? Yeah,
it's about 50% or so, right over 50%.
I have helped those numbers.
You are a statistic, that's true. But so it's true there is a lot of divorce, but at the same time, the fact that, you know, half of them, whether they're genuinely happy or, you know, of course that's relative, right? Happiness. So happiness to some degree, just maybe in the accomplishment of starting a family, having a legacy together. The fact that half of couples do stay together for life is quite a testament, given that, you know, they got to do that in their 70s, 80s, 90s.
Right.
You know, it's a big deal. So it's kind of beautiful, right? Even though it's a little cynical that it's
quite amazing how far we come along, right?
Yeah.
And then what I really like about her is that she gives you the method to have a successful relationship, right? So she wrote this book called Mating in Captivity, Unlocking Erotic Intelligence. So she came up with this term of erotic intelligence, which means that you have to be able to, in order to have a successful relationship in this day and age, this modern day and age, that you have to be able to provide somebody security, which is, she states as love, belonging, and closeness. But also, you need to give somebody freedom, right? And she puts that under freedom, erotic desire, adventure, and distance. So you have to balance out being there for somebody.
And say those again.
So it's basically under 2 categories: security and freedom. Under security, she says love, belonging, and closeness. And under freedom, she puts erotic desire, adventure, and distance. So according to Esther, or Dr. Perel, I guess I should say, is the perfect recipe for a perfect relationship, right? Is the mix of those two, of security and freedom. It's a balance of that.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it's a balance between the relationship and the self.
Right.
Yeah.
The need for individuality, but also for safety, right? For having somebody there for you.
Yeah, so encourage people to check out Esther Perel if they're interested.
YouTube, Google, whatever.
Yeah. Okay, and like we mentioned earlier, we had some audience interactions, right?
Right.
That you posed some polling questions to the audience, and they also asked you a couple questions, right?
Right. I think the first set, I asked, I said, hey, do you want to ask me any questions about the podcast?
And what did listeners ask you? What were they interested to learn?
I did not know. I had to pull that up, so hold on.
Or how about this? I have them right here, and I'll ask the questions that the audience posed you.
Yeah, so we'll pick that.
So they wondered whether or not Ice Princess, does she listen to the podcast?
Yes, she does. Or she did up until a certain while.
I'm assuming she'll continue to tune in.
Probably. We'll see. I don't think she has the patience for that.
I would assume so. While she still likes you, anyway.
That's true.
Well, and then if she ends up not liking you, she'll probably tune in anyway.
For curiosity.
So also, I think they asked you for what was your label for your current relationship status?
Right. I think at the time I put it's complicated, but as of now, I guess she's my girlfriend.
All right. Labels.
Ooh, open the champagne.
There we go.
Labels.
And then someone asked you for advice. They mentioned they keep hooking up with their ex, and that she's chaos. She's got big tits and a fat ass. Help me. What do I do?
I think you better read my creative response at the time. I don't think I can come up with anything.
Well, why am I asking you the questions if I'm just reading the answers?
What did I say? I just don't remember.
That's me deflecting back to you.
I do not like that.
I'm not sure what your intent was with the
chaos with big tits sounds like a keeper to me.
I think we got it that time. Okay, and so then there were some questions that you posed to the audience for a poll, right?
This is a poll, and then I can take over the poll. I posted a few questions, given that it was getting close to Valentine's Day. I was just curious, what people do. So one of the questions that I asked for my poll was, do you talk to your exes? And by talking to your exes, I mean you at least check in once a year. And from the people that replied, 52% of them said that they talk to their exes, which I'm kind of shocked because I thought most people didn't talk to their exes.
So, yeah, half and half, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah, about half and half, which is too much. I thought minority of the people didn't talk to their exes. I guess I'm wrong. The other one that I asked was if you do anything for Valentine's Day, if you're dating somebody.
Like special occasion, dinner, or whatever.
Or just on Valentine's Day, if you go out for dinner, just do something special, right? 48% of them said yes, and then 50% of them said no.
So
it's about half and half.
Yeah.
Another question that I asked was if you celebrate monthly anniversaries. So you know how you're dating somebody and before a year, some people celebrate, a month together, 2 months together. It's like, oh, we've been together for 6 months. So I asked people if they celebrated monthly anniversaries. 9% of them said that they do celebrate it. And then 91% of them said that no, they did not celebrate.
Makes sense.
So I think we can spot the needy people, or minimum. I'm just kidding.
Given our late 20s, mid 30s demographic, probably most don't.
Yeah, I don't do that, but I have done that, though. I guess if the person cares, then I'll make an effort, right? But I don't really like it.
And your last question was on exchanging gifts, right?
Right. So if you exchange gifts on Valentine's Day, do you look down on your boyfriend or girlfriend for getting you a bad gift? 26% of the people said yes, that they look down on their boyfriend or girlfriend if they receive a bad gift. 74% of them said no.
So a quarter of people are judgmental and kind of read into the tea leaves on how the other person is at gift giving.
Right. I think gift giving can be tricky. I think if the person doesn't know you that well, right, then you get a gift that you don't necessarily love so much. But I think the effort is what counts always. And then there is the getting a bad gift, right? Just something completely, like getting a mug off a gas station for Valentine's. I don't fucking know.
If it's just clearly without thought or value.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think as long as there's some thought and effort put into it, then to me, hey, that's very good, right?
Now, there are some that would be plenty impressed by a gift with high value but very little thought at the same time.
True. I mean, something like getting a car. Although I've never gotten a car from anybody.
Yeah, I wonder who actually does that. You see that in the commercials, but has anyone actually ever received
I don't have rich friends. No.
Yeah. Car with a bow on it.
You never got that.
On Christmas and it's snowing outside.
Never got that. Even my first car, my parents said, hey, save money, right, to buy your car. Whatever you save in the summer, we're going to match you, right? We're going to half you into the car. So they were thinking I was going to save like $1,500. So my first summer, I saved almost $4,000. My dad was like, what the fuck?
Nice.
I have to put $4,000 into a car. So I ended up getting a nicer first car.
Very nice.
Yeah, worked my ass off in the summer.
It's good parenting, right?
Right. I think I like that. I think if I had kids, I would do the meet halfway. And also, it's crazy to give kids BMWs.
Maybe that's the logical next format for us. We go from dating straight to parenthood advice for the podcast. Right.
Are you joking?
It's fascinating to hear the outside voices. So maybe we'll do some more of those next time, some questions.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So, guys, tell us how you feel. Ask Andrea a question. We welcome you to reach out via Insta or Facebook at TinderLand Podcast. So I think that's a wrap. We'll keep it short and sweet. Some guests on the way sharing their own stories. So we'll look forward to finding some quality avenues of entertainment. One guest sharing her trials and confusion of being ghosted, and even some missing persons cases, both real and imagined, involving Tinder dates. So stay tuned, and happy swiping or vicarious living out there to our Tinderlandians. So this is Jonathan.
Andrea over here. Happy swiping, everybody, and thanks for listening.